Pereira just got dominated by Magomed Ankalaev. Sean O'Malley got dominated by Merab. Conor is on a alcohol and coke bender. Israel lost his last 3 fights, and Jones's career is coming to an end. Is the UFC's golden age officially over? The UFC has had a monumental last 10 years. From record-high pay-per-views and mainstream popularity to huge stars emerging, the UFC seemed to only be going up. But recent events have led to people claiming that that era has officially come to an end. With new champions like Belal Muhammad, Merab Dvalishvili, and Magomed Ankalaev, fight fans seem to believe that the UFC is no way near what it used to be. The era with stars like Conor McGregor, Israel Adesanya, and Jon Jones dominating and entertaining is over. Or almost over. People were talking about the sport being in the dark ages ever since Merab and Belal won, but the real tipping point came at UFC 313, where Magomed Ankalaev beat Alex Pereira by decision. Pereira is obviously one of the most exciting fighters in the UFC today, and one of the biggest stars. His rivalry with Israel Adesanya and how he went on a tear through the UFC light heavyweight division, literally winning every title fight by brutal KO. That was until his fight with Ankalaev. To Ankalaev's credit, he showed some great boxing, even rocking Pereira at one point. But in the last 2 rounds, anytime the fight started getting interesting, Ankalaev chose to push Pereira against the cage instead of trade strikes. Don't get me wrong, this fighting style is definitely an intelligent approach to fighting. You want to win while taking as little damage as possible. But the UFC is an entertainment product after all, and watching 2 men hugging against the cage is not what most fans want to see. The fight wasn't the most boring fight ever, but compared to other Pereira title fights, it was by far the least entertaining. And there lies the biggest problem: the man who puts on the least entertaining fights is now the champion. He will be the one headlining pay-per-views. Now, I don't know about you, but I would much rather pay money to watch the one-punch KO artist, who is always in exciting fights, than pay to watch a man hug another against the cage for the majority of the fight. And the same goes for the majority of the fan base. Now, it's not just the light heavyweight division with a champion most fans don't care about. When you look at the bantamweight division, it's almost the exact same situation. The UFC had a champion in Sean O'Malley who was known for his entertaining style and one-punch knockout power. His style was one of the most fluid and unique the UFC had ever seen, and he had a lot of fans. Then came another challenger, Merab Dvalishvili. Merab was known for his cardio and grappling, but mostly his cardio because against high-level competition, his takedowns regularly get defended, so instead, he'll push his opponents against the fence and hold them there, doing nothing at all. He utilized this tactic against one of the GOATs of the sport, Jose Aldo. He went 0 for 16 on takedowns and instead chose to hold the legend against the cage in maybe the most boring fight in the history of the sport. Merab ended up beating O'Malley using his superior cardio. Now, once again, there is a champion in a division that almost never entertains in his fights. Now, although there is a lot to complain about in the UFC, there is hope for the UFC. Champions like Islam Makhachev, Ilia Topuria, and Dricus du Plessis give MMA fans a lot of hope. The talks of Islam versus Ilia and Dricus versus Chimaev are keeping MMA fans' hopes up, but there is a real lack of star power in the current champions of the UFC. What do you guys think? Is the UFC cooked, or is it just as good as ever? Let us know in the comments. See you guys next time.